He's done it!
Throws up the floater.
Oh, astonishing.
Pulls up three-pointer.
We are back with another episode of Off the Record. I'm your host, Bailey Jackson, joined by my co-host, Lachelle Smith. And we have Indianapolis Colts safety Nyck Cross with us for episode 25. Nyck, how many?
I didn't realize it was 25 episodes already, though.
So, 25 episodes.
I'll see y'all for sure.
I want to go ahead and jump straight into it. We've got a busy episode today, and we want to hear from you, Nyck. We've got some questions queued up before we go ahead and jump into our topics for the night. I want to talk a little about your season. You have obviously seen a lot of success this year. The Colts have one of the best records had in a very long time. I want to know from your perspective, how would you describe the way this team has evolved throughout your time in Indianapolis as you are now in year 4?
We've come a long way, for sure. Definitely from, when was it? My 2022 and 4-12-1, my first game ever in the NFL ended in a tie. So it was kind of crazy, but to see how the team has evolved, we've always had pretty good playmakers. We've always had the pieces around. Obviously everything surrounds a quarterback. You have a quarterback in the league, you're going to win a lot of games. And, we had good guys in there, but, it wasn't necessarily meshing the way it was supposed to. So, when Shane came in, brought more pieces in, the guys got older, guys developed, guys got better as football players. And I think the Colts do a great job of keeping teams together. For the most part, I feel like I've known these guys ever since I've gotten in the league, and those guys have been there since, even before I was there. So having them there and then, bringing in Daniel Jones or Indiana Jones or Danny Dimes, whatever y'all want to call him, I feel like he's the piece that put everything together. Obviously you've had a great running game with JT, great pass rush with Buck, Grove, Quiddy, and all of them. But to have that quarterback to finally blend everything together with the receivers and all of that, it's definitely shown.
And you've got a new teammate in Sauce Gardner. How much have you been able to work with him so far since he's been in Indy, and what do you feel he brings to the Colts secondary?
He's a great guy. Someone who, we came out the same year of the draft, and it was fun. Our coach was like, make sure you communicate with him, over communicate with him because, he's only been here 3 days. So, but, he has a pretty good grasp of the playbook already. Obviously when he's out there, I kind of just let him be and let him do his thing. But he's a great guy, great teammate, fun to be around. So he's cool people.
I want to talk a bit about this year in particular from, your preparation. I've known you your whole professional career, and not to say that you weren't locked in before, but it feels like you've taken things to another level this season. What do you feel you've done differently this year compared to the past seasons?
I feel like I try to do something different every year. So last year I try to, get a chef to meal prep for me. This year I got my guy, Zach. Shout out my guy, Zach. Comes in every day. Yes, supposed to come in about 40 minutes. I'm making my dinner. So, definitely shout out to Zach. Comes in, makes great meals, helps fuel me for the week, fuel me for Sundays. Always trying to get treatment. I think, I added an extra massage session or something like that, but always trying to take care of my body and just try to be the best I can be. I watch more film now. I don't want to say I wasn't locked in before walkthroughs and stuff, but, even more so, trying to focus on the details and where I fit, my pass coverage responsibilities, my technique. Coach Lewis definitely harped on it and stayed on me about it. So just trying to put all the pieces together to be the best I can be.
So you're telling me your chef comes in every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and cooks for you?
For the most part, I mean, I pride myself on taking care of myself. I always say I seen LeBron do it, and LeBron was my favorite player. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get one too. So, he definitely comes in when I'm here and make breakfast, make lunch, make dinner, bring little snacks, things to take on the plane. He cooks for a good amount of people on the team as well. So, yeah, you gotta take care of your body.
No, for sure. Well, you talk about what you're putting in your body. I know you've also talked a little bit about how you spend some of your time on off days, just, making sure that you're getting treatment, you're meeting with coaches. How much do you feel that extra work has paid off for you?
I feel like it has. I mean, going in and listening to staff meetings and stuff like that, hearing what the game plan is going to be, hearing why we do things and what we plan on doing kind of helps me play a little faster. And, it helps me prepare with the things that I know I'm going to have to do on Sundays. Whether it's, a little more blitzing or a little more coverage or this, that, and the third, having that extra day to go in and look and then go watch the tape and kind of put myself out there on the field and see what I'm going to be doing. It definitely helps for sure. And then, of course, just coming back home, being on my own and either watching film and then, I might hop on the game a little bit, then get some leisure time in. So it's good though, for sure.
Or hop on a flight. You were in New York this weekend for UFC. How did that go?
It was good. There was a big main event brawl that took place outside of the octagon.
I saw that. Yeah. What
Um,
happened from your perspective? Because I've only seen clips, but I haven't heard anybody actually speak on it.
I personally was not there, and if I was there when it happened, I was not paying much attention to what was going on. But I heard it was pretty sizable. I was okay. I was fine. I
Okay,
think
that's good.
I don't know who else was injured in this, second or third, but I got out unscathed, so I'm all right. It was good, but
Yeah.
overall, the event was good. Makachev won his welterweight championship. The co-main event with the two women was really good as well. I didn't like to see a whole bunch of ground and pound pause, but I definitely enjoy watching. Makachev is definitely one of the goats of this generation when it comes to the UFC and the MMA. I wish we would have seen a little more, hand to hand, a lot of grappling and, more of just ground control instead of just trying to, truly, whether it's, win by submission or something like that. So it was a good overall event though. The crowds are insane.
No, it looked crazy. I know we were supposed to be in Miami this past weekend for Jake Paul Tank Davis fight. So I'm glad that you had the opportunity to see a little bit of boxing from that perspective out in New York. I do want to switch it back to the football real quickly. You are up for a pretty big contract, new contract on the horizon. What are three strengths or qualities you feel make you someone a team should prioritize keeping around?
I would say I'm a true professional. The way I go about my business, I take care of my body on and off the field. Mentally, I'm a student of the game, always in the film room, always trying to, better myself mentally, physically with my technique. Uh, you know, Obviously in the run game, we're great when it comes to being in the run game. I don't think a receiver that can really block me when it comes to, getting off blocks, making tackles, and disrupting in that aspect. I think I've become a pretty good blitzer over the last year in our scheme. And I also think just, my athleticism and athletic capabilities, I can play anywhere. Deep. I played deep, free safety my first couple years in the league, moved down into the box, can play down there and be effective. So think overall, all around, I can do a little bit of everything. And on top of that, I'm young. I'm 24. Like, I still got my best ball ahead of me. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But I'll let my, Dan and Sam, they handle all that good stuff. I just come on here and crack jokes with Bailey and Lachelle and play football. That's it.
Hey, shout out your agents. You said that no receiver can block you. I want to know, we've talked about this off camera. George Pickens. I heard George Pickens is your son.
I mean, the last few times I played against George, I've taken the ball away from him twice in pretty dramatic fashion. So, I don't know if I go say, somebody's my son. I don't have any children. So, but George is someone I've known since high school. And, I don't know why, but we always end up, one on one. I'm 2-0 right now. So
I was about to say, you've definitely given him some work on the field, and I wanted to know what your relationship was like with him off the field. So you said you've known him since high school. You guys
I've known
talk
George since
often.
high school. Yeah,
Okay.
we were all in this big Auburn group chat. Everybody wanted to be him, Bo Nix, Owen Papel. All of us were, supposed to go to Auburn and, and go to school together, went to the opening together. He's a character for sure. Even on the field, we out there, joking around, clowning around, so someone I have mad respect for, someone I have, you know, a true affinity for watching, as a receiver, one of the best receivers in that game, I think. So yeah, still my dog though.
Speaking of joking around and clowning around, this is $1 million question. why aren't we seeing you participate in the DB celebrations?
DB Seller, I joke around like this. This is why I'm joking around. I'm not a big dancer. I'm not very coordinated when it comes to that stuff. So that whatever that celebration that Cam did, what was it?
He's done the one where it's like on his back.
Wasn't it Drew?
Oh,
was it Drew Hill? Was it the
Drew Hill? I would have never been able to pull that off. I know they were in the comment section clowning my boy Chris.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't mean nothing by, he was trying to give his best effort. They would probably clown me too. And on top of that, I hate to say it, but they all ran to the end zone and I started running and they had already started the celebration by the time I got over there. So I kind of just, gave everybody a little dab up and then ran over to the sideline. But, Bailey, you know me, I'm not a dancer. I'll talk some trash here and there, but that's it.
Are you not there for the practices? Like, are they not?
I have not been made aware of any practices that have been had or that have not been had. There have been a couple of times where Cam has said celebrations in the chat and our DB chat, but there have never been any rehearsals or anything that I have been made aware of. I don't know if it's because they haven't had any or he just knows I'm not going to dance.
No, they had some. That Drew Hill was pretty. It was together. It was together.
So I'm very much confused as to if there was a rehearsal. Like I didn't get the memo on the rehearsal. So
you weren't going to show up.
I think I could have pulled off the Drew Hill. I think I might have been able to, if I would have seen it, a couple of times, I might have been able to pull that one off.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Teammate in the front is getting flamed right now. He was trying. He was trying.
He was trying. No, that's the thing. He was trying. He was trying hard. So
well, Cam, if he sees this, include Nick in the DB sellers. We want to see Nick get jiggy with it. All right. Well, for those who don't know, Nick has been an on-camera talent for the NFL Network, making some appearances on Good Morning Football over the offseason. He's been seen on Up and Adams with Kay Adams. He's been seen on Check Out the Stat with our friend Treasure Wilson. The list goes on. So, Nick, what we want you to do is put your commentator hat back on and give us your takes as we jump into our remaining segments. Are you ready? So, we're going to get into a little bit of a college football conversation. We got Bama, Oklahoma up first. It's the upset of the week. Number 10, Oklahoma takes down number 4, Bama at Bama. This was a key game for Alabama, and they got sloppy. We've talked about this before. Bama cannot afford to lose games that they have no business losing. Oklahoma didn't even look their best yesterday. They were well below their usual standard. The running game was weak. The offense didn't generate long, sustained drives. Progress came only when the defense or special teams created favorable field position. If their offense can step up these next 2 games, Lachelle, I want to know, how could this change the playoff landscape?
I mean, I'm going to just be honest. It's not going to step up. I've seen enough. We was riding the wave in the beginning. We were critical. Then we were like, oh, it's looking good. We're here for it. I don't know. It just, something about it. It's just the offense. The offense, like you said, the running backs. Miller isn't really going as I think everyone thought he was going to go. He came back from injury. Ryan Williams still trying to find that rhythm again. Ty Simpson looked very uncharacteristic. It was kind of weird, but I also think Bama fans underestimated Oklahoma's defense. A lot of people were like, oh, they're trash. And I'm like, we're talking about a really good pass rush that's going to get home most of the time, which we saw in this game where Ty Simpson was throwing early, overthrow, sack, running for his life. I don't know. I mean, Auburn's playing very inspired now. So I think I've heard from some Bama fans, they don't think they're winning that game.
And that was going to be my next question. Going into the Iron Bowl, what confidence does this give Auburn, or should this give Auburn?
A ton. Your job now is to mess up their chances. Like, you don't really have a chance. So now your job is to make sure Alabama does. And you saw Kalen DeBoer, like, he was furious after that game. He was like losing it. And I was like, oh yeah, he gets it. He knows what's at stake now, especially in the SEC like this. But I don't know. I have some confidence in Auburn that they might shake this thing up and go ahead and get Alabama up out of there.
Nick, did you get a chance to watch that Bama Oklahoma?
I watched a little bit of it. I just overall don't think that Bama's teams have been the same since Saban left. They lose games that they're supposed to, go in and really dominate. They're just not the same Bama of old. Looking at the stat line from the game, the game shouldn't have been close. Like, they held Oklahoma to just around 200 some yards total offense. And, you still end up losing a game like that. it comes down to just execution. You have over 400 yards of offense, you should win by 2 or 3 scores, especially if your defense is playing as well as it is. But yeah, I haven't seen that spark on offense. Ty Simpson, good quarterback, but again, going in and comparing it to what we've seen of old with the Tuas and the guys that they had in there, it just doesn't look the same. The running game doesn't look as dominant. The passing game, the receivers aren't as explosive as they used to be, and it's showing up on Sunday. Obviously, at the beginning of the year, everybody watched that Florida State game where they went out there and basically let an egg in Doak Campbell. And, to come out, start winning games, and, people start to think, okay, maybe that was a fluke. Florida State started losing some games. But, you go out there in Bryant-Denny and you lose to an Oklahoma team where the quarterback is still, coming back from his hand injury, and they really don't put up a whole bunch of yards. So it's like, when you think about the college football playoff, think about the Indianas, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, the teams that they're going to have to go battle with. I don't know if they're going to be able to have that type of offense or put that product on the field and be anywhere near successful.
Yeah. This is a question for both of you. In general, what does this game mean for the college football playoff picture and the SEC race specifically?
I mean, it positions Texas A&M to find themselves in a great position. I mean, it helps out the other teams, I think. You look at the other teams at the top of the pack, you kind of, like you said, the Georgia, Texas A&M. I mean, you start getting happy. You're like, ooh, great. Like, Oklahoma needed to win. They're already on the cusp now, and they kind of desperately needed that, and the chances are still very low. Like, they're right on that bubble. But for everybody else, it's like they needed Bama to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Bama needed to win. I mean, I think their chances of being a little bit more inside of the landscape was stronger, but I don't know. I mean, if I'm everybody else, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I wouldn't be scared to see them anyway, but it helps some other teams, I think, that are like, okay, we kind of needed that, especially in conference play.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think the SEC is really, wide open. Obviously, Texas A&M is up there. Ole Miss, Georgia. Those are the three, big ones right now. Because I mean, as it looks right now, I don't see Alabama being able to make it to the SEC championship. And, for them, I think it's going to take, now they're number 10 or something like that. I think if other teams, if Oklahoma keeps winning and wins out, I think even if Texas, Texas goes and wins out, those are teams that are going to look at them and go, okay, Bama, yeah, you're Alabama, but, you lost a very sloppy game to Florida State. You lost even a sloppy game to Oklahoma. Oklahoma shows continue to win and win and win. And, then, of course, you already have Ole Miss, you have Texas A&M, and Georgia at the top of the, I know one of them's probably going to lose in the SEC and one of them's going to win, so one of them gets the automatic bid. But I feel like it's going to be an uphill climb for that squad to be able to have a chance to even sniff the playoffs.
TJ, the guy, 2 in the chat, said Bama has to win versus Auburn. Like we said, it's not looking great. Auburn has all the confidence in the world to go into that Iron Ball game and beat them. So I don't know if we're going to see that from them this year, but time will tell. We'll see. That game is what, this weekend?
I think it's next weekend?
Thanksgiving, because all those rivalry
yeah.
games. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, we'll see. I want to go ahead and pivot into a little situation that we saw yesterday in the Texas A&M South Carolina game. The Texas Department of Public Safety trooper bumped South Carolina wide receiver Nyck Harbor and scolded him after Harbor scored a touchdown late in the first half of the Gamecocks game at Texas A&M. That official was quickly sent home, and it's been said that he's been relieved from all of his game day duties going forward. Nick, did you get the chance to watch that in real time?
I didn't watch it in real time, but I'm close to people who know him, so obviously they were texting like, "Yo, like, why do you do that?" Whatever. I just think it was uncalled for. You walk between them and you get upset because you get bumped into. Like you can't do that. Like that's just not. It doesn't make much sense. Now you look like a jerk because you want him to sit there and yell and say whatever you said to him. And now you lost your job on game day, because you couldn't just, keep walking. Like, they're kids. Accidents happen. People bump into each other all the time. I don't think there's anything malicious that Nick or even the other player did to, deserve that type of reprimand. But It was just uncalled for.
It was just weird. He got caught in 4K on national television. Like, you got Nyck Harbor running in, he's holding his hamstring. They're all trying to make sure he's okay in the tunnel. Then, like, this trooper just wants to purposely walk in there. And then you see one of them try to move out his way and he flails out his elbow.
Right.
And then, like, they're like looking like, yo, like, what's the problem? Like, you are literally causing a scene where I'm actually supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I am playing football in my occupation of what I am doing right now. And here you come in this tunnel. Then you get mad because we're all like, what's going on? And then you start yelling. That is crazy and uncalled for in so many ways. I mean, I'm glad they addressed it, but a part of me feels like they only addressed it because everyone saw it nationally. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got LeBron James tweeting about it. I mean, everybody upset because he just was like, you did it on purpose. Like, what? You weren't even in the tunnel. Like, where do you think they're going? They're coming back. Like, what are we doing here? And then, like, now I think they said the ball boy, like, slapped the ball. I'm like, see, it's just too much going on. Too much at Texas A&M. Because I'm like, this is crazy. There's no way. But, I mean, he got caught in 4K, which I think is the craziest part of it all.
Yeah. No, you bring up a very good point. If he didn't get caught on camera, would there be this conversation right now? Would we see this?
Nobody would know.
Back? Yeah, exactly.
Nobody would know.
Great point. Yeah. I mean, who knows if it would be a situation where the players took it to the team or, you know, whomever at A&M. I don't know.
What he said, though? Like, what did he say?
That's the $1 million question. You said you're close with Nyck, right?
Yeah, that's my dog. I might have to ask him what he said.
Yeah. When you ask him, let us know. Report back. And
it didn't seem too pleasant.
Oh no, I don't think that it was. I do not think that it was. Crazy.
Maybe some of the game emotion, you know, what were they down? Whatever the 3 at that point, it's just like he couldn't help him on the field. So
that's just wild, though. Someone on Twitter said they was like, his parlay must like be losing right now, and I'm like, yo, because he was upset. It's like he was purposely trying to pick a fight, and I'm like, you're picking a fight with college football players during the game. Like that after a touchdown. Right. See, shout out to them though. They handled it well because I would have tried to throw a ball at them. Like, yo, you and lost your mind. Like, what is you over here for?
Okay, do you think that was worse?
They did right.
Do you think that was worse than when, what was it, with Pitt, the kids tried to take the ball away from the Pitt ball boy?
Oh, no. Shout out to the Pitt ball boy because he was going down. He got the ball back. He had a post and he was like, got the ball. And I was like, oh, you feeling bold, but like, no, that was crazy. That was
he almost lost his life over that ball.
Yeah, but how they was trying to snatch it, I was like, yo, y'all are doing a lot too. Like, y'all are trying to bully him and he wasn't going for it. Like,
that was crazy. I was like, yo, like, I was like, what are y'all like? I was like, the level of just boldness is crazy. I was like, bro, I've never seen anything like that. To go attack the ball boy, like.
And he's on Pat McAfee, like, yeah, I got the ball. I'm like, y'all just gave him some fame off of him protecting the ball. I said, that's crazy. No, they was upset. That's up there. These two are definitely kind of like similar in a weird way, but also not similar.
Yeah. Yeah. One is with a grown adult in college kids. Yeah. The other is like a little bit more reasonable with the age difference. Yeah.
The audacity is it's similar in audacity. Like,
yeah. Yes.
Like the audacity of you to be doing this is insane for both.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uncalled for behavior. It is what it is. Hopefully we won't see any more of that in college football because we just want to watch some football. On that note, I want to transition into some jobs in both NFL and the NBA. We've got some coaches out the door. We've got some GMs out the door. I want to start with Brian Daboll. The New York Giants decided to part ways with head coach Brian Daboll, citing the last few seasons have been nothing short of disappointing and that the team has not met ownership expectations. There were repeated inconsistencies, blowing big leads, especially in the fourth quarter, the defense underperforming, and again, just overall record slipping. In addition to on-field results, there were some internal concerns as well about culture, sideline behavior, and staff communication. Reports of Daboll, quote unquote, exploding at staff and interfering with coordinator responsibilities. Nyck, from your perspective as a player who's been through something similar where, a head coach has been fired mid-season, how does a coaching change affect the locker room vibe at this point in the year?
I think it can do one or two things. I think it can either send you all the way to the tank, or you can, might have that late season rally. You rally around. You really have nothing to lose. At that if your coach is getting fired mid-season, like y'all have something seriously wrong. And I remember when Coach Wright got fired. We had just who did we just lose to? I think we had just lost to New England or something like that. We came in and they had pushed the team meeting back a little bit and whatnot. And Ballard came down and was like, we relieved Frank of his head coaching duties. And I've never been a part of anything like that. Like, to fire, your coach mid-season, I was like, and of course, I'm 20, 21 at the time. I'm like, yo, this is insane. Like, I can't even write this in a movie. So, hey, we're going to leave out, and just be back ready to work on Wednesday. We leave out, it's kind of like, okay, like, and then we go hire Jeff Saturday, and it's like, yo, like, it's working on ESPN like yesterday, so it can do one or two things. I don't think that the Giants, I think this year, barring the injuries with Jackson Dart, Scatterboo, Malik Neighbors, they have something over there with those young guys. Like Jackson Dart, just the aura, how he plays the game can bring life into that New York team. Scatterboo, the way he runs, how he plays, the effort, the grit, the determination he plays with. And then, of course, Malik Neighbors, who he showed what he could do, last year as a rookie. It's one of those things where I think they should have given it a little more time to play out with everybody being healthy, because, of course, injuries are a part of the game. They're unfortunate, but they beat the Chargers. They're in games at the end. Of course, there's going to be some rookie, young guy mistakes, but I think when you bring in a quarterback like that, or you bring in young guys like that, you got to give time to see the whole thing through. Like, you've got to, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I question the fairness. And I use that term loosely because at the end of the day, somebody is going to be at the end of that finger. It's a blame game. But I do question the fairness of the decision for the exact reasons that you mentioned. They've been injury prone this entire season. And then once they threw Dart in and they got something going, it's like, okay, it looks like things are going up and up. Like Daboll's safe, because we've been talking about his job security. And it's like the moment Dart came in the picture, it's kind of went out the window. But then you have Scatterboo out. Obviously, Malik got injured early, but it didn't seem like you said, to your point, Nyck, enough time has passed to honestly see what the result of all of the pieces being in the picture would actually look like. And Lachelle, I want to know your perspective too, on, Daboll being let go, and, just what your thoughts are specifically on what the season moving forward and even just the future of New York looks like now that there's just some uncertainty at, head coach.
I mean, we knew Daboll was on borrowed time. We saw how he was hugging Jackson Dart when he won that first game as a starter. It was kind of like, woo, okay, like we could do this thing for a little bit longer. I mean, I agree with both of you. Like, the talent's there. He was trying to figure this thing out. I'm a little more shocked that Daboll got fired and not Joe Schoen. That's who I'm looking at. Like, how do you keep escaping this gauntlet? Because we have watched multiple Hard Knocks episodes now and have seen you and Daboll. We have literally seen that Brian Daboll was the one that wanted Jackson Dart. He was the one that wanted Malik Neighbors. Like, we have visual evidence that he was the one in these rooms saying these are the guys. Somehow now Joe Schoen is getting credited with that, when I'm like, you over here asking your son who you should draft, and like he was telling you Jaden Daniels. Like, it's very odd. And I'm looking at him. I mean, coaches are coaches. There is blame to be given, but I'm just confused with the Giants. Like, you have something, but I feel like you need to do a clean sweep, because Joe Schoen, like, no offense to him, he should be out of there too.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm Brian Daboll, I'm looking like, hey, if I'm packing my bags, he need to be packing his bags with me. Like we both did this.
Right.
Like we both were in this. I stand on the fact that I still don't think Daboll wanted to start Russell Wilson. I think that was something that came from above and he chose to go with it. I think we talked about it like at the beginning. I was like, I feel like Daboll was like, sure, start him. Let's get it out the way so I could put the guy I want in, and then it will make sense. And again, as we saw how he was hugging Jackson Dart with all his might, he was like, yes, I'm good. We're going to figure this thing out. Everything's going to be okay. Injuries start happening, which he has no control over.
Right.
And now, boom, you're out the door. But I think that's an entire management situation, not just a coaching situation.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of questions around if this was the right decision. Again, it's one of those situations where it's like only time will tell. I would love to see how this team ultimately with all of their pieces back. So we'll see, next season what that situation pans out. Whoever this new head coach is might be the answer, or if the answer is just simply having your talent healthy. I want to move on to Nico because he's out the door as well in Dallas. On Tuesday, Harrison was fired as general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, a decision made overnight by Mavericks owner after the team's governor decided there was no longer any use delaying what had become to be seen as inevitability. The trigger event, as we all know, was the Luka trade. And at this point, Mavs ownership is not only concerned about fixing on-court results and franchise stability, but also about restoring fan trust. With that being said, there's a lot of questions about roster identity and direction. Nico's vision leaned towards contention now, and now ownership wants to maximize Flag's future. With that being said, they need to make moves now to own the roster around Flag. Lachelle, what changes do you think need to happen ASAP?
They need to try to sell that team to somebody else. That's the problem. They need to. Patrick Dumont does not know what he's doing. Nico, yes, rightfully fired. Everyone's sitting here saying he's a scapegoat. He's not a scapegoat, you guys. He wanted Luka gone. I have already given my theory. Patrick Dumont doesn't know basketball. He doesn't know. All he heard is I could save $300 something million on a Supermax. Great. Cut the guy, trade him, do whatever you want. Nico wanted him gone. He thought Anthony Davis was the answer. Anybody who's watched AD could have told him, well, injuries are a thing. It will be consistent. It will not change when he gets there. Then you sit there, he gets injured, then you run Kyrie to the ground. So now you are in this situation. You somehow get gifted a number 1 pick, still trying to figure that out. And now he's playing out of position. You're losing games. You fired for many reasons now because your plan didn't work. If you're the Dallas Mavericks, that is an executive issue now. A lot of these teams are bad because of whoever is in these nice offices that are not going to practice. They're not asking questions. They have no knowledge of what they're looking at for their roster. They're being told what should happen. And then things don't work out. And I mean, for the Dallas Mavericks, you have a team. The problem is you traded away Luka, who is now the leading scorer in the NBA. That you can't fix that. You can't fix that. Like, that's the problem. You traded away the gem, the diamond, to someone else for Anthony Davis that we were struggling to make the number 1 scorer for the Lakers. Like, all the pieces are there. You just got to the finals almost 2 years. It was all there. Yeah. And you messed it up. So now they might need to just really say to themselves, maybe we need to rebuild. Maybe I got to start trading some pieces away, get some more draft picks. They might got to commit to it because AD not getting younger. Kyrie for sure not getting younger. You got to hope Coop plays in the right position. That's up to Jason Kidd. What else are you going to do after that? They are in trouble, and it's Patrick Dumont and Nico's fault.
Yeah, preach. I mean, you said everything that I feel like we were all thinking. Someone in the chat said, even as a Lakers fan, that was a ridiculous trade. I think we can all agree on that one.
I saw something on TikTok. There was a conspiracy about how the whole thing with Nico and trading away Luka, and then the Mavs getting the number one pick. I think they had like a 1% chance to get the number 1 pick.
Very low.
That's a nice little video my PTA sent me. Makes a lot of sense. I'm not a huge conspiracy guy. They're in trouble. Like, if we push the clocks back 5 years and this was young Kyrie, young AD, young Clay, okay, cool. they'll be just fine. You know, injuries, okay, you know, but but a lot of miles on those legs. Like they don't have the same pop. They don't have the same, you know, abilities that they did when they were, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So, you know, yes, Cooper Flag is a breath of fresh air, but he's not Luka. Like, at least not right now, he's not Luka. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, guys are getting older. As they get older, obviously the value for them goes down as well. So if you're going to trade for somebody, if you're going to try to get something to help, you know, make the team younger, it needs to be done now because, you know, a couple more years, you know, nobody's going to want to trade for AD. No one's going to want to trade for Kyrie. No one's going to want to trade for Clay or any of those people. So it's just one of those things that if they're going to do something, they need to do it right now. As far as a GM, he ain't never been worked in the front office a day in his life. So it's like for you to get that job, you know, again, like I hate to bring it back to the Jeff Saturday thing, but it's like you get a job as a GM and you've never worked as a scout. You know, you work player personnel. Like those are two totally different things. And then on top of that, so I'm very grateful for Carly, you know, as an owner because she knows what's going on. She's on the sideline with her headset, her notebook, asking, "Hey, what's this coverage? How do y'all play this? Why are y'all playing this? What's the game plan for this week?" Like some of these guys are rich guys who have no clue about anything sports related, and they just go over there like, "Okay, I'm going to buy this team because it looked good in my portfolio. It, you know, I can say I'm the owner of this, that, and the third. You know, it might give them a little street cred here and there or whatever they want to, you know, to flex to their boys. But if you don't know what's going on, anybody can sell anything. And it usually doesn't change until things get really, really bad. Like to the point where you can't lie to the owner and be like, "Hey, things are going to be on the up and up in a year." Well, you've been saying that for 2, 3, 4 years. I do think that teams need to start vetting who buys their teams now, who is going to be taking stake in these organizations because again, like you want somebody who knows what they're looking at. You can't just have somebody like as much as I say I know basketball, I couldn't go be no GM right now. Now, if you put me in the scouting department, you know what I'm saying? I might be able to give a little help here and there, you know what I'm saying? But as a GM, I ain't gonna be no good. Like, so, I mean, if you put me as the owner, then I might be a little better because I don't have to make all the decisions. I just, you know, sit there and be like, "Hey, like, you know, okay, this looks bad. You know, we're 43 and 50. Like, you know, hey, like, what's going on?" But yeah, you just need guys who know what they're doing to be able to put players and organizations in the best position to win.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Cuban said it himself. If he was still the owner of the Mavs, he would have never made that decision. So I think
It's his fault. I don't want to hear anything from Mark Cuban.
What?
Nothing.
Oh,
Nothing.
wait, why are you blaming Cuban? Hold on.
You gave up your ownership.
Well,
You
true.
gave it to them.
Yeah.
Like, and then you got upset. He gets on these interviews and he's like, "I'm upset because, you know, like what they promised me, I'm not really involved." Mark Cuban thought he was going to give up all this stuff to the Dumont family. And then he thought they were going to let him still run it like he owned it. That's not how that works. I have now paid for it. I'm going to do what I want. And that's why now he's upset. You did that. You did that. For whatever reason you wanted to do it to the casino family, that's a whole nother conversation. You did that. I don't want to hear about, "Oh, yeah. Well, duh, you wouldn't have traded Luka." Nobody in their right mind would have did that.
That's a
like,
good point.
you know, like I just, Mark Cuban is just like, bro, I respect him. He loves basketball. He loves the Mavericks, but like, you gave it up. You literally gave up that right. If you were there, obviously this wouldn't have happened. That's why they did it when you were gone.
Yeah.
That was the point. Like, they got the one person out of there that would have been like, "Nico, you have lost your mind. There's no way we're about to give up Luka." You go to Patrick Dumont, he's like, "Oh, great. Luka? Who is that?" Yeah, who is that? The guy who's on the bench? Oh, yeah, we could let him go.
Save you $300 million. Okay, bet. Go ahead and get that done.
Like, he's a casino guy. All he sees is numbers, green or red. You said I could save? Oh, bet. Go ahead. And Nico probably was like, yeah, these are the analytics. He hasn't played this game. He's gained this much weight. He's done this. You sent that man into his villain arc over there to the doggone Los Angeles Lakers. He's skinny now. He's in shape. And now the doggone leading scorer. And where's Anthony Davis?
He didn't tell Dumont that he averages 30 a game either. He just told him that he overweight, a little chubby.
And he hurt all the time. He don't want to come and lose the weight. And Patrick was like, oh, okay. Now you sitting courtside with a kid, and I already have another conspiracy about that, but I'm leaving that to myself. He's the reason why all of a sudden, less than 24 hours later, you fired Nico. And you admit to this kid that you were wrong, and not to the people in Dallas when you sat there after Luka got traded and was like, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they took it serious. And we need that. So you sat here and called this man everything but a child of God. Then you want me to believe you had a change of heart sitting courtside with some kid. And you're like, yeah, I didn't have the team's best interest. Stop it. You sat there.
He might have had more basketball knowledge than him.
And do.
And did.
Like at this, they're all just playing the blame game. Somebody has to be hit for this. And I mean, I get it. If I was like the owner or the governor, yeah, like I'm about to get you up out of here too. Like, why would I can't fire myself.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like somebody gotta go.
Right.
Like,
the owner's not going to be the one to usher himself out the door. It's somebody else is going to get the boot. It's never going to be on them. Absolutely not.
But it's weird. Like all of it's odd. The Dallas Mavericks demise is from people having personal things that they thought. And sometimes when you think you're the smartest person in the room, it makes you the dumbest person in the room. And Nico Harrison thought he was the smartest one. Yep, this trade is going to change everything. It did. You're out of a job.
Yeah, out of a job he is. I want to move on to another person who is out of a job, and that is Pelicans head coach. After 12 games into his 5th season, he was walked out the door. Over his tenure. He recorded a record of around 150 wins and 190 losses. However, when announcing the change, Pelicans executive VP of Ops, Joe Dumars, said the decision was not solely about the win-loss record, but about who we're going to be in New Orleans going forward in a pattern of losing the same way over and over. Do we honestly think that firing Green will fix a franchise that has become the league's laughingstock?
That's a tough question. Is it? No, it's not. It probably will get better. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago on our hot not list. They were on my not list with the red underline capital letters. We talked a little bit that we thought Willie Green was going to be on the hot seat really soon. So, I mean, it should get better. Hopefully. They have the talent. Derek Queen looks good. I mean, they got Jordan Poole. They got Jeremiah Fears. They did very well in the draft, which everyone has talked about. Mm-hmm. Zion's still not healthy, though. So that's like a own personal thing. But Willie Green hasn't gotten better. I think back to like what a couple playoffs ago where everybody was like, hey, like maybe they'll have something. They were having success without Zion. And it was like, oh, like this is going to work out. But he hasn't adjusted. There's nothing that's really changed. Offensively, they look stagnant. Defensively, they don't have the same fire that they had. The roster's not bad. That's what I think everyone's confused about. Like the roster is very solid. It's just like, what else are you supposed to do to help them get over the hump? And I guess the answer is letting go Willie Green. But now who do you bring in there?
Mm-hmm. But see, and I guess that's what I question is like, what do you have to do? Because I feel like, what does firing the head coach do to fix the cycle? You know?
Right.
Like right. That's kind of
that's a player thing.
Yeah. No, that's so true. That's very true. On that note, we're going to go ahead and transition into a little game of Contender versus Pretender, the NBA version. So we're going to go through some teams that do have winning records right now, some teams that don't. But we want to know, does that mean that all of them are contenders? So I want to start off with Oklahoma City. Give me a quick contender or pretender. And chat, play along with us.
Contender.
Oklahoma City is going to be in the finals for the next 4 to 5 years. They have youth. They locked up their guys for a good amount of time. SGA and the rest of that squad, they're going to be in the finals for the next consistently for the next 4 to 5 years. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 2 or 3 of them.
It's a good team. It's a good team. They're young, they're hungry, they dominated last year. I think they can definitely do the same this year. I'm going to say contender as well. We've got the Denver Nuggets, contender or pretender?
Oh crap. I was gonna say pretender, but that's messed up for Joker. They're a contender. They're a contender.
They always got to be a contender. I mean, they're always there at the end. You know, the Joker, and I mean, outside of SGA, I think, you know, him and SGA could, you know, always be a toss up for who's going to win MVP. Like what he does for that organization, you know, is second to none. So I think, you know, as long as he's there, you know, obviously Jamal Murray and everything like that, I think there'll always be contenders on that side.
Yeah. I'm going to say contenders as well. I feel like they're the biggest thorn in OKC's side. They check a lot of the boxes. They're top 5 in a lot of stats and doing this with also a lot of new additions. So, you know, definitely a lot of good things coming from this team. And I definitely see them in the playoffs. We've got Miami.
What? I was about to say, what level of pretender are we talking? Because, like, I don't have them contending, but I don't think they're pretenders either. Like, I think Miami is who they are. I think, like, that's never going to change. The system, how they play. I think their offense is even better this year than it was last year because from what Bam said on, like, NBA Prime, they play very free basketball. They're running no sets. So, like, everything is just feel. Once you get to that point, that's different. That's a very organized chaos. But, like, do I see them contending? But I don't see them pretending either.
You can say, I don't know.
I don't see, yeah, pretender. I don't think so because the squad is good and the squad has gotten better, you know, with the way they play together and whatnot. But when I think of contenders, you know, are they beating the Knicks in a 7-game series? Are they beating Milwaukee in a 7-game series? You know, are they going to be able to, you know, a healthy Philadelphia team? Are they going to be able to beat Philadelphia with Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George? Are they going to be able to beat those teams? Even Indiana, even our old faithful Indiana Pacers, well, they're young faithful now, but they're young faithful Indiana Pacers. Are they going to be able to even beat them without Tyrese and Miles Bridges and the likes of them? So I think they're like if this is pretender and this is contender, pretender, they're like right here-ish. Like they're really truly 50-50.
Mm-hmm. No, they are a true, I don't know. And that's my answer for I don't know. Like Denver, they check a lot of the boxes. They're doing all of this and finding a lot of success without Bam as well. But I'm very on the fence about them. I'm putting them right there where you have them, Nick. Next up, we've got, I feel like another team that kind of falls in the same bucket, the Bucks. Contender or pretender?
I give them contender.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie. They're hooping right now. Like, despite them having the recent loss, but they look good. They look really good. I mean, they're young guys. Ryan Rollins looks really great too. Like, they have a system going. I'm really impressed. I don't know if that means they'll be deep in the playoffs, but what they have right now, it looks better than last year, to be quite frankly honest. And I don't know if that's just because Dame's not there or whatever the case, but it feels like Giannis is back running the show. They have that intensity again. They have a little bit of youth to allow themselves to score. So I'm going to give them contender, at least in the East. Like, they should be able to have some game 7s, find themselves contending, trying to get into a conference championship. Yeah, I give them contender.
Nick, what do you got?
I'll say contender just off the fact that, you know, I don't see many teams in the East who will take them and really give them a run other than, you know, New York, Boston, you know, teams like that. So I definitely just say contenders because I don't think that the East is I think the East is very top heavy. I think that, you know, you have your teams that are, you know, Boston, you know, do I include Indiana without Tyrese? I don't know, but your Boston, your Milwaukee, your New York, you know, Philadelphia, you know, those are the 4 where it's like, okay, you know, healthy and clicking all cylinders. Those are the top 4. And after that, it's kind of, you know, just a drop off and, you know, just just talent and just sheer greatness on the team. So I don't know. I think that, I feel like it can be done, but will it? I don't know.
I'm gonna say I don't know as well. I'm not shifting to one side or the other. I think this is, like I said, another one that falls right there in the middle. I will say when you have a player like Giannis, you're always going to be in the mix. And to your point, Lachelle, like Ryan Rollins, he's having a crazy start to the season. So I definitely think there's a lot of hope for this team, but I just don't know if deep into the playoffs, the postseason is in the future for them. So on the fence. Next up, we've got the Pistons. Contender or pretender? Nick, we'll start with you.
I like what they have over there with Cade Cunningham, but can I call them a contender yet? It's Detroit. I just can't call no, I think at some point the magic will run out and they will be the regular same old Detroit Pistons that we know to be. I just don't see, again, like when I talk contenders, like are they beating Boston? Are they beating Boston, New York, Philly, Milwaukee on a consistent 7 game they win in the series? I don't think so. I really even think between them and Miami it'd be a toss up, in a 7 gamer. So I'm gonna go the first one. I really think I'll go pretender on.
Lachelle?
I'm gonna say contender. I'm gonna give them some respect because I feel like the Pistons have the ability to be on the same trajectory that the Thunder were on a couple years ago. Like 3 years ago, everybody was like, the Thunder are going to be really good. They end up getting bounced, losing to Dallas. Everybody was like, whoa, 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 like what's going on? Everyone was like, they're pretenders. Then the next year, boom, we got exactly what we thought. I can see the same level of trajectory. Like, do I think they're going to sit there and make it to the finals? No. Do I think they're going to challenge a lot of teams in the East where we're all going to say, okay, they're like 1-2 players away? Because it was the same thing with OKC. After Dallas, what did they do? They went and got Alex Caruso. We all were like, man, they need some veteran presence. Boom, that was the next piece. I think the same thing for them. They are like 2 pieces away, but I do believe that they could contend at least to make some deep runs in the East and at least challenge some really tough teams. We're all going to sit there and say like, okay, that makes sense because Cade is a superstar. He's only going to keep getting better. You got a 2-man punch with him and Jalen Duran now. I mean, Thompson, he's going to be probably all NBA defensive team. Like they have a lot of good things there, but I can see them contending in the future, but also I can see them trying to push for some contention right now.
I'm gonna say pretender. I feel like they're missing a true outside threat. I could see them winning a series or 2, but not getting to the conference final. So that's my reasoning for that. I want to rapid fire through these next ones. We've got Cavs.
Pretender.
Pretender? Nick?
Yeah.
Pretender?
They talk. Yeah.
Okay.
No, can't get it done.
We got the Spurs.
Pretender.
Yeah. I'm not a Spurs fan these days. Don't strike me.
Knicks. Okay, Knicks.
Contender.
Contender, yeah. We got Rockets.
Pretender.
Ooh.
Ooh.
They don't have a point guard. I'm not selling it. They don't got a point guard.
I think the Rockets will be the team this year that will surprise a lot of people. I think they have enough youth, and then they have veteran presence there where they can really go out there and turn heads and play the way they need to in order to get it done. Like, I don't think that we should sleep on them just yet. Like, the season just beginning. But pretender this early for them is, I think, insanity. Because they had, any team with Kevin Durant on them is not a pretender. I don't care.
I mean, we just watched the Phoenix Suns. That was
different. That was
Was
different.
it?
They were very underwhelming. I mean, they were underwhelming. It was just the same thing. I mean, hold on. Let me take it back. Because there have been a couple teams that KD has been on, but they have not achieved what I thought they would achieve. But I think with this team, with Steven Adams, with he has enough around him. And yes, I'm not talking about, the big superstars like they had when they were in, Phoenix, or he has enough around him that can just do their role, play their job, play their role the right way, that I think it can gel very well. As long as everybody stays healthy and does what they're supposed to, like the whole super team thing, I think you just need one superstar. You need somebody who can shoot, rebounder, and someone who will go play good hard defense, and you will get the results you want. The three superstars who shoot 30 shots a game, like you're not gonna get what you want on a very consistent basis.
I'm gonna balance the playing field out. I'm gonna say Contender. I feel like they have a top 10 offense, they have a top 10 defense, and they're one of the few teams that can say that. And I feel like the defense is going to keep them going in games. So for that reason, I'm saying Contender. We're going to move on, though. We got the Lakers.
Contender.
Me and my PT always talk about this. We always talk about the Lakers. Will they be a contender? I think they will. Now, when LeBron comes back, does their success continue to elevate or does it go down? That's my big thing, because Luka is going to get his, but LeBron is still going to want to get his and do what he needs to do. So I don't know if another big time, volume shooter is going to take away from the success. Because like I said, you don't need 2, 3 superstars. You just need one. And then you need the players around them to just play their role really well, and you'll have a successful team. And this ain't no ordinary superstar that's coming back. Like, this is one of the best players to ever play the game. So I don't know. I think right now they're looking good. When LeBron comes back, we'll see. I would love for LeBron to get, what would this be? 5th ring? His 5th ring. But it's going to be tough for them to put up with the Nuggets, with OKC, with those teams that are true contenders for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make a good point. I think they're playing at a level right now where you kind of forget they're playing without LeBron. So it will be interesting to see how they come back and how he adapts to this offense and how they're playing right now. Next up, we've got the Timberwolves. Contender, pretender.
I feel bad. I'm an Ant fan. I really am. They're pretenders. Like, as of right now, they are pretenders. I don't see it yet. I don't see it. I don't know if it's a roster thing. I don't know if they have the right fit that actually helps Ant be exactly what he needs to be. It's just something about it. It's something that they're missing, and they just haven't figured it out the last 2 years. The last 2 years, he has went against his peers for opportunities, and he's been beat by both peers in very late game 7s and all these things. Something about it. I don't know if it's Ant. I don't know if it's the whole roster, but they are pretenders as of right now.
Nick, what are you saying?
I refuse to call the Timberwolves a contender just because Ant is a great player. When it comes time for those big moments when I need him to hit a clutch shot or hit this or hit that, I'm not talking regular season, because regular season of it, but people try to joke and say he's MJ's son, this, that, and the third. MJ's hitting those shots in those big. He's showing up in game 7 and dropping 40 and winning the game. Too many times they've fallen short, and I hate to say it, but a lot of it comes on the shoulders of Ant. Like, if he can do that again, maybe 1 or 2 more pieces that'll help, support and take, a little pressure off him, whether you have another shooter in there or something like that. But until they, like Lachelle says, until they figure it out and figure out how to help put Ant in the best position to win, there's just going to be the team. They're going to be a team that's great in the regular season. They're just going to be entertaining to watch because of Ant.
Last but not least, we've got the Warriors. Quick, pretender or contender?
Dang. I got a lot of respect for Steph, but they're pretenders.
Yeah. Nick?
Them Warriors dynasty days is over with. Like, it's over with. Especially after I seen how what's his name? Wemby dunked on Draymond. It's over with. It's over with.
Man had to look up at him to keep talking trash. I said, "Oh yeah, we gotta wrap this up."
Over that day, those days are over with.
Agree. Warriors or Pretenders? Oh, actually, wait, we have one more. I'm sorry. We got Orlando. Let me know. Contender?
Pretenders.
Pretender. Okay. Okay. We didn't even have to have an explanation. We could have left Orlando off the list. That's it. We appreciate y'all playing along with us for a game of Contender versus Pretender. I want to throw it over to Lachelle because we've got one of our favorite segments of the night, Nyck, for you being new to the show. Every episode we do a hotline segment. Sometimes we'll have people call in, sometimes we'll have people submit their takes ahead of time, but we're going to react. Lachelle, I'm going to let you tee it off.
Okay, y'all gave us like 2 hot takes. One, I just don't even get who wrote this. Whoever you are, you must be a Michigan fan. I am judging. You said Michigan's basketball team will win the NCAA championship. Why would you say such a thing?
Ooh.
What have you seen that makes you believe that that's going to happen? Whoever that is, if you're in the chat or you see this, let us know.
That's an incredibly outlandish take.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's
they
out
must be
there.
a Michigan fan.
I think
they're like Bailey, your Indiana comrades that come in here and put a hot take. They've been doing it for like the last first episode. It was all about Indiana. So, the same thing. This delusion.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
Except with Indiana, it's no longer delusion. It's
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
at
Michigan,
the time, it wasn't.
Yeah, Michigan. I can't ever stand behind that.
Yeah,
I can never stand behind that.
Yeah, that was bad.
Now, this person put, they just typed Daniel Jones. Oh, okay. There's more now. It's Daniel Jones MVP. Nyck, do you believe that's on the table?
I think anytime your team has the best record in the league, yeah, I think that, obviously the quarterback, but I think the runaway candidate right now is my guy, Jonathan Taylor. Like, there is no one right now who is playing at a higher level of football than he is at all. Like, the things that, and don't even worry about the highlights. You can watch the highlights, but if you go watch the film and you see the things that he does, we see it on the side, but when you go back and watch and see the little moves, how he gets skinny in the hole to be able to sit there and make defenders miss, it's actually absurd. Like, it's almost criminal what he's doing out there. Like, Tennessee, we sitting there on the sideline. All you hear is a crowd of up, and there's JT running down the field. And it's just like, there's no, like, we just look at each other and just laugh. Like, it's almost comical to see how he's doing it. Because, some guys are fast, some guys are strong, but JT's able to do all of it. And I used to joke with him about his hands because he's on one of my Madden franchise teams. And they lowered his catch rating. His catch rating wasn't that high, so he dropped a lot of passes. So like, JT, like, we got to get them hands right so that your Madden can go up. And, even when he's doing out the backfield, like, JT by far is my MVP. For real, he's incredible.
Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Off the Record, and thank you to Nyck for joining us for episode 25. As always, you can catch us live on Twitch every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. You can catch every episode on YouTube posted the day after. We'll see y'all.